Ooh, for a second there, I thought it said Life of Blood Atlanta. It does not. I am on the right screen. Welcome to Blood and Hope Detroit.
Yee.
I'm your storyteller, Feyla. Joining me tonight is Cocia playing Lottie.
Hello.
Nenavar playing William.
Hello.
Dengle playing Rufus.
Good evening.
And Buttons playing Uriel.
Ew.
Before we begin the game, yes, I remembered this time. Potential trigger warnings, especially in this episode, will probably feature more religious aspects. Thank you, Rufus. So, if anything in the game bothers you, take a step away. If you can come back, do so. If you can't, go ahead and skip the game. We always do our recaps, so you will not be missing out on too much, at least main story-wise. So, your mental health and well-being is very important to us, so take that time if you need it. Speaking of recaps, you guys want to recap the last game?
We met some new friends. We went and looked for Fred, couldn't find Fred, and then we got Chris a room. There's more to it, but I mean, that's the short and narrow.
Yeah.
I believe there was a Nosferatu, Gangrel, Bruja, and Setite.
Yep. That
Yeah.
there was. Sylvia was the Setite, Hunter's the Gangrel. We got Buffy and Spike as the Bruja Nosferatu. You can imagine their relationship is interesting.
Yeah, probably.
So, this game is going to start. I apologize if my mic got weird. I don't quite know what's going on with it. None of the chords have been moved or changed or anything like that. So, this game is going to start on February 12th, and then we're going to skip forward to the 13th and then into the 14th. But I'll let everyone know as the days happen. So, beginning the night of the 12th, is there anything you guys would like to do or take care of?
And no, Uriel would like to start with trying to get in contact with King.
Okay. His bookstore is pretty well known, even if his number's not, so you could definitely make your way there. And Mike and King are both there.
Ah, good. If one of you have a moment, I have a particular request I am more than willing to pay for in whatever way you deem necessary.
He will wave Mike off a little bit. Yeah, what are you looking for?
History on a knife. I don't have a name, and that's part of what I need.
That's a little vague. There's a lot of knives in the world.
Yes, so this knife is particularly tied to necromancy. They'll give a description of what it looked like and add on that it was part of the Setite auction a while back.
Might take me some time to dig into this if you're willing to pay for it.
Of course. If you would prefer that I do the digging, you can just point me in a direction. However, I understand that you have your...
That's the problem. There's a lot of knives. I don't know where exactly to point you, even if I wanted to. There's Knives in all points in history. There's many knives that Kindred have made. There's many knives that other factions have made. I need to dig into where to send you. If you had a time frame of creation, a name, you already told me sort of what it does, but like any other details would help narrow that down.
Yes, saying that they've piqued the interest of my wayward clansmen probably would not help. I am attempting to get into the decent graces of the Setite community, so maybe I can get a little bit of information from the ones that procured the object in the first place.
I hold that information as tight as Nosferatu holds secrets. Good luck.
Thank you.
If you get in, let me know.
That is going to be my next step, yes. And I certainly will.
Yeah, give me a couple weeks and I'll see what I can get you on this, or at least where I can point you towards.
It would be appreciated. Normally I would start with the Chantry, but considering it is the Chantry that is seeking this item in less than amicable circumstances, I decided it'd be best to not let them know that I am looking into this, at least for now.
Makes sense to me. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone.
I appreciate it. And I will, in fact, let you know if I am able to get even remotely close to the Setites.
Always useful. Anything else you needed?
For now, that's it.
Alright. Uriel sees themselves out. The door does lock behind you. So, was there any other things Uriel wanted to do on this night?
On this night, they would mostly do that and then go to their office and get a little bit of actual work done just to kind of keep up appearances.
Okay. We'll go with Lottie.
Radio. Okay, so as Lottie has been doing every night, she will get out the very nice stationery and write Willow another letter every day. You know, little memories that may have came to mind that day, how things are going. You know, trying to explain herself.
And unfortunately, like every night, you've received nothing
one
back.
Letter every night. She feels guilty. She is trying to write away the guilt. It is not working.
Is she sending them?
No, she's holding them all.
Oh, okay.
She will hand them all over whenever Willow is back.
Okay. Yeah, you still have not received a text from Willow.
Nope. She's not expecting it, although she does check her phone religiously. Because not expect one back. And then, sorry, I was trying to find my list. Has Lottie gotten her computer stuff from King?
That's actually what we were going to do tonight. You receive a message from King saying, hey, this stuff is ready. Do you want Mike to come and drop it off?
If he doesn't mind, that'd be great. Thanks.
Just need an address.
Give us her address. Stupidly
Cool.
enough.
Cool. So, within an hour or two, a kind of beat up box truck comes up. And Mike is actually out there. They'll text you and let you know to come let them in and everything like that. And he is wearing a mask, so almost all of his face is covered. You can just see some of the pockmark upper part of the face, but doesn't look 2 masquerade breaking at least. And another guy with him.
Okay. So Lottie will let him in, and if the doorman gets suspicious, she'll tell him just to forget about this. It's fine, and use cloud memory if need be to keep things smooth.
Okay. So they bring it in, and they get it all set up between them doing like the physical building and getting things set up, and you taking care of the electrical work because Mike isn't as good at that. But they take their pay, because you're going to pay King for that. Based on the, I'm assuming the level of things that you want, next to your I'm blanking on the word for it, the that's where you have your money from.
Right.
Just tick off a box temporarily. You'll regain it back in a couple of weeks. But it was a big expense.
It was indeed. But it is worth it.
I'm not really going to make you guys keep track of quote-unquote smaller expenses for things like that, but big ones like this, you will temporarily have things taken out from you. So,
let's face it, Lottie's been dropping money like, it's paper.
She has. But especially moving forward, this is how we're gonna do big bomb purchases like that. So, now that you have your fancy new setup, Mike and his friend leave. Friend was also a kindred. So, you just set up the computer the rest of the evening?
Yeah, I will make sure that they are all good to go, encrypted, super secure as can be, and making sure everything's in.
Give me intelligence and technology roll.
Aye. I got a messy crit and then 2 extra crits, and that was it. So that's 4, 5, 8, but it was messy.
Okay. You did manage to find one buried deep in everything. Hard to find. You did manage to find one little thing that looked like it was tracking what information you were pulling from. Can't find its source. Might have an idea. Who knows? But you get rid of it without a problem.
Okay.
Anything else?
I think that's enough for tonight. That probably would have taken a decent amount of time, and with the writing of the letter.
Okay. We'll go to William next. What would William like to do this night?
William is going to spend the first night hunting Fred further.
Okay. How would you like to try and do that?
He is going to check in with the king first, see if he found anything.
So, King has a basic profile on Fred. like, not his real name, unfortunately, but was able to track down, like, when he was in Braze, what he'd been doing for Charlotte up till then, and it was just odd jobs, kind of like you had been doing. Nothing crazy. But hasn't been able to find where he is. The phone dropped off where you guys found the ghouls, and no trace of it since.
Now we check in with the Toreador hideout, see if anyone knows any of his feeding habits or anything.
Okay. Give me intelligence and persuasion. I'm sorry, not intelligence. Charisma and persuasion.
Two. Muted.
Whoops, I am muted. You do find someone that Fred had spent some time with, but unfortunately they do not give up any information that you did not already know. As for the feeding habits, he was more of a... He liked to lure mortals into bolt holes and hideouts to feed off of them. But where those bolt holes and hideouts are, they either don't know or aren't telling you.
Was the only other thing I could think of is to maybe stick out by the waterfront, see if he somehow manages to turn up.
Okay. Intelligence and investigation. Or wits and investigation.
Dude. I can't do any better.
Yeah. You see people that you recognize simply because you've been down to the area enough now. But no one that looks like Fred. And you weren't given a specific what he looks for to feed off of. Like visually. Because the people had either been different enough or you couldn't connect as to why he pulled them when you were given your information. So tonight, unfortunately, was a fruitless search for you. Okay. And Rufus.
Okay. So, seeing as he's not inundated with things to go do, he will take the night to properly mark his areas. He will go through picking up whatever spray paint cans that he can, and doing a very small cross, much like the old Ravnos symbol, kind of in the perimeter of his area that he is wanting to claim, which Faye has that on a map.
I do. Alright. Just go ahead and give me dexterity and craft painting. The symbol is easy enough. It's just kind of to see how much of the area you get done.
Yep. I got one.
Pick a border. Which section would you like to do?
South.
Yeah, I figured. Okay, so you can kind of hit around that area. But that's the important one, right?
For now, yeah. East, not important. North, not overly important. West, maybe, but south, definitely.
Okay. So, that would take him the majority of the evening between driving and things like that. You do hear back from Buck. He says he'll text you and say, hey, I got all the paperwork and costs and everything ready. Would you like that?
He would respond back with, yes, I'll let you know when I'm on that end. I do have a project that I'm working on. It's taking a bit longer than I anticipated.
Okay. I will have it ready and at the place I'm staying.
Okay.
So you have that ready to go for you now too. So we'll be moving on to the next night, unless there's anything you guys want to do.
I'm ready to move on.
Okay, so now we are on the 13th. We'll start with Lottie this time.
Sure, we'll start with me. So with her new setup, he is going to start looking into Cass and Cass's area. That biznatch is shady.
Okay. Intelligence and tech.
I'm sorry, you said what?
Intelligence and technology.
That's what I thought. I'm sorry, I just.
If you have a thing for computers or information gathering, you can apply that.
Not yet. I'm working on it though. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I've got 2 regular crits, and then 3 regular successes. I'm scared if they're good rolling. Never a good
so
sign.
that's 7.
So yeah, 7. That's all I got.
Okay. Let me pull something up because, of course, I had forgotten to pull this up, right? Doo-doo-doo. So you were able to find that she's relatively new, but you knew that already. You weren't able to really find what her name was prior, but you were able to start popping up pings of the name Cassidy Harmon, which is what she goes by, starting at about 20 years ago. So she's probably been at least under that name, if not completely kindred, for about 20 years. Everyone knows she's fairly young. So it wouldn't be off the mark for it to have just been about 20 years ago. It's been about 5 years since she claimed that section that she holds now. Similar, and not exactly the same, but similarly to how Rufus has done, just kind of set up and claimed it and started gathering people behind her. Not a lot, not a ton, but there's a vast assortment of clans behind her, and she does claim to be an anarch and hasn't been found to have been proved wrong so far. There hasn't been an insane amount of crime or anything in her area. It hasn't really cleaned up, but it also hasn't gotten worse.
Okie dokie, it's a start. And I'm assuming that's gonna take Lottie the majority of the day, so that's probably good. Unless you say I can start something else.
What did you want to try to start? Because that search would have taken a while.
The other thing that I have on my list is to start building basic information of all the kindred and mortal power holders of the city.
The mortals would be much easier, so you could start on that. And I will get you that information afterwards. But nothing is too crazy, except you very much recognize a name on that list. And you seethe as you see it. You're muted. What did you say? You're muted.
I just muted myself. Yeah, I said my eyes go red. I'm laser focused on that name.
Seems to be gaining a little bit of traction lately. Okay. So, moving on to let Rufus now. What would Rufus do today?
Well, Rufus would actually probably do a little bit of stuff on his computer, not near the level that Lottie is. However, he does have a special project that he checks in on every once in a while. Just doing a quick checkup on them.
Okay.
And beside that, he's going to work on the western section and do a little bit of prep for the sermon.
Okay. The special project is going fine. Doesn't seem to have hit any snags or any problems.
Okay.
As for the tagging, give me another roll for that.
Give you one guess.
1.
Yeah.
Okay, so you finished that side now.
Okay, well, that's the important ones.
Yep. Okay. So between the computer and your writing and everything, that would take you the day. You receive a text message, actually, towards the end of the evening / very early morning. The herd member that you spoke with before about brokering a deal has gotten back with you with a location. And it would be tomorrow, early morning. Still within your time frame, but
okay.
You will have that as well. There is nothing else that Rufus would like to do. We will hit...
I do not believe so.
we'll hit William now.
William is going to try to track down a place for him to start recording his songs.
Okay. Are you going to get help to do this? Or are you just walking around looking for places or searching on the internet looking for places?
I believe William has a dot in the contact for music industry.
Oh, do you?
Common
No, you had a-
contact.
Okay, I knew you had one, I just couldn't remember what it was for. Okay. So, go ahead and roll... Is your persuasion... Do you have points in persuasion?
Yes.
Okay, I'll give you wits and persuasion and then add 3 dice. With getting help from your contact.
Four.
Okay. So you are able to find what would be a small independent studio. Doesn't have the greatest equipment or anything like that, but it is serviceable and doesn't sound too bad when you listen to some of the promo stuff that they've recorded in there. So for sound checks and things like that, it doesn't sound too bad. You can make it work. And it's pretty discreet.
It's always helpful.
Okay.
Once he's done with that, he'd talk to Oliver about finding a new place to live.
Okay. Do you want him to start looking?
He won't push for it, but you'll tell him that's probably smarter to look for a place to look while there are people annoyed at him.
Okay. Are you going to help him pay, or does he need to provide that money himself?
I'll help him pay.
Okay. So I will get to those roles at some point later, because it will take him a little bit of time to find a place that's serviceable. And then, was there anything else?
Nope, that's it for William.
Okay. Uriel. What would you like to start?
Okay, first thing I need to do is, I forgot that I'm at 2 hunger for last week, so I would like to start out tonight by feeding to get me back down to 1 hunger.
I wasn't going to worry with rouse checks or anything for the downtime days, but you can certainly feed. How would you like to go around doing that?
Tonight it'll just be their usual one of the night shift workers, call them into the office, forget you saw anything, and out.
And that is your herd?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so make a note that you have fed from about half of your herd at this point.
Okay.
So they'll need time to recuperate. Because I believe 1 dot in herd, you only have between 1 to 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
Or 1 to 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
So you roughly have 1 more feeding on that before you'll have to take a break from them.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're down to 1 hunger.
After that, they will pop off a quick text to Rufus asking when he is planning on delivering his next sermon.
A text message would quickly be given of tomorrow. In fact, I'm currently writing it.
Excellent. I wouldn't miss it. And so with that confirmed, next Uriel will make their way to the chantry.
Okay. So you approach the Detroit Institute of Arts, and at nighttime, it is empty. It's a little bit off-putting, such a gigantic, stately-looking building being empty. But you make your way to the entrance that is known to your clan plus a certain few others. And you use your card to get in. And you make your way in. And you make your way down into the basement. Would you like to seek someone out? Would you like to try and find information in the archives? What would you like to do?
Uriel would first attempt to look to get into the archives. They are specifically looking for history on the Niktuku and maybe anything tying them to Detroit, see how they would have gotten here in the first place, where they might have been hiding, just things like that.
So intelligence and occult, and then add 3 dice for being in the library there. And then if you have anything on occult or kindred related occult things, you can add that dice.
Okay. This is probably the biggest pool of dice I've ever rolled, by the way.
It's a nice feeling, isn't it?
I am rolling 11 dice with the 3 that you gave me.
Yeah, it's a nice feeling.
That is 7 successes.
Okay. So, you do establish that there is nothing tying the Niktuku to Detroit. You learn a little bit about their history, where they came from, the origins of their clan, how they branched off from the Nosferatu, and for many reasons, eventually began hunting them. And basically, every time they come across them, they attempt to either send them to the final death or diablerize them. That they themselves start out as typically very, very handsome and beautiful, and as their curse progresses and as the older they get more wrong, hag-like, and things like that. And as time and age does that to them, they retreat more. And then sometimes build up small clans, like miniature clans around themselves with younger looking Niktuku. And that they obviously are very jealous of them, but they send them to go do their hunting. And then you do find references that they are tied to passages from the Book of Nod, and that they are said to be part of the coming of Gehenna, and they are related to things of that nature.
Uriel will take a quick picture of that little part referencing Book of Nod and how they tie into it for for later reference.
Okay. So that amount of research would have taken you a large chunk of time.
Understandable.
But if there's anything small you would like to do.
No, that would that would pretty much cover it. Might go to Charlotte's just to schmooze and socialize a little bit. That's really about it.
Okay. Deirdre will happily engage you in conversations. I didn't mean to cut you off. Was there something you wanted to do while you were at the chantry?
No, that was really it for right now. Was just doing the heavy bit of research.
Okay. And then, so I believe I hit all of you for the night of the 13th, correct? Alrighty. Yep. So, I know Cocia, is now back. Good timing, Cocia. So, you go to your day sleep on the night of the 13th, day of the 13th, and then you wake up the night of the 14th. And may I get your rouse checks?
Passed.
A pass.
Success.
Passed.
So everyone has passed. Rufus, you were at 3? Oh, you're at 1. Oh, right, you took care of that. Is anyone at 3 or above?
Nope.
Okay, cool. Good to know. I'll keep that in mind. So, starting around the table again. How would you like to begin your evening, Rufus?
Show up to the meeting place, which I believe we've already covered. It's actually going to be at the school.
Yes.
And kind of do his little setup before anybody else gets there. He will make a point to have donuts and coffee.
Are you doing it in the field?
Yes.
Okay. Then you won't have any issues. If you were breaking and entering, you'd have a little bit of an issue. But an open field, they'll look over. So, you make your coffee run. I assume you have Chris help you with that.
If he needs to, he will, but otherwise, he'll do it himself. Doesn't really matter.
Well, it's not anything he hasn't done before. So that would take you some time to set up. Let's loop around. Uriel, how would you like to start your evening?
First thing Uriel would do is they would go through the usual routine of checking their texts, making sure there's nothing from work.
No, nothing from work. Just one from one of your herd, keeping you up to date on what's going on, but nothing crazy.
Understandable. Let's see. How would one go about getting in contact with Mr. Barrow, as we spoke the other night? Uriel would want to set up a meeting with him.
You could have found him the other night. Not in the archives, but he sort of unofficially runs them. So, you can poke around there and find him pretty easily. You don't have his number or anything like that.
Yes.
So are you trying to find him specifically to set up something for that day or a different day?
For a different day if we can. Uriel does not know what to expect with Rufus's thing and wants to make them available for the evening for that.
Fair enough. He wouldn't be thrilled, but what day would you like to set it up?
What would be more convenient for you?
My time is spent here. You know this.
Of course.
It's an inconvenience for me either way. So which is more convenient for you?
Then I will make it brief. 2 nights from now?
He'll pull out a small book and make a note. Done. What is it pertaining?
I need deeper access into the Niktuku clan. There have been some emergencies that have threatened the masquerade, and it has come to my attention that it is a matter that I might particularly want to look into. I need to know how they would get to Detroit or why they would be here.
That is a very pointed request. I will be expecting information from you as to why you need this before I deign to allow it or not.
Well, as I mentioned, I have come to understand that there was a Niktuku that surfaced and killed off a significant portion of the city's Nosferatu and nearly breached the masquerade. And where there is one, there is always more. But we don't know where.
I thought they were typically solo hunters. Did you witness this firsthand?
No, but I spoke to someone who did.
I did hear about the Nosferatu being hunted. Did not hear the conclusion to it, though. Perhaps we will speak with your contact who witnessed this to get a better understanding of it, and then perhaps you will be allowed deeper access.
I'll see to it that they join us.
Bring them to the receiving area when you come.
Of course.
So with that ominous meeting out of the way, William? Or, I'm sorry, Uriel, was there anything else you wish to do this early evening?
They will send a text to the rest of the coterie. Are you guys free in 2 nights?
Probably. Why?
Should be.
Rufus does not immediately respond because he's busy setting up.
Understandable. I might be able to get more deeper information on the Niktuku, but it is imperative that the 3 of you attend a meeting with me in 2 nights.
Okay, I'll be there.
You really need me? I actually do not see that particular incident.
No, I particularly need those who were there and observed it.
Alright, I mean, I can still come along, but...
Does Rufus respond yet?
Eventually he will. Where and with who?
Octavius Barrow, eye roll face emoji. DIA visitors lobby. I will escort you.
Has Rufus had any dealings with this particular person?
Rufus would not have dealt with Tremere much, would he? With the pyramid specifically?
Probably not as much.
You can go ahead and give charisma and etiquette.
That would be 2.
I would say to especially deal with that one specifically, you would have needed a 4. You might have dealt with some of the lower base level pyramid workers, for lack of better words, but not that one specifically.
Okay. You would get a reply back of, haven't met that one, but if it'll help research, sure.
Be prepared, he's an asshole.
He's not the only one this group deals with on a semi-regular basis.
A Tremere level asshole. ...
He would leave it at that.
Give me a Lottie.
Is that as bad or worse as the Ventru asshole?
There's a reason the Tremere are still with the Ivory Tower, and I will leave it at that. Being an independent, the only reason I am allowed to get as close as I can is because my sire was well respected.
Understood.
And with that, they will make their way over to Rev's Shindig.
Okay. William, how would you like to spend your early evening?
Was William ever invited to the meeting, or did he just... Okay. So, William will text Rev and make sure that the address that he received is right.
You've been there a couple times.
William will prepare, look semi-nice, but still prepared to be outside, and start making his way over.
Okay. Lottie?
Lottie will don her still designer, but more casual jeans and shirt and whatnot. And she will text Rufus, do you need help with refreshments or like chairs or anything? Or just bring my lovely self.
If you have any old blankets, I'm sure people would be more than willing to take them off your hands.
I'm sure I have some gently used blankets that I no longer like. So Lottie will pack up clothes that she probably no longer wears. Let's face it, Lottie probably wears things like for a week, maybe a month, and then it's no longer of use to her.
Fair.
And yes, she'll pack up the clothes in a tote, she'll pack up the blankets, and she'll stop by any store that's still open and just grab some like sandwiches or a case of water or two.
Okay. Question for you. Are you bringing Duncan along or no?
Yes, let's bring the Duncan.
Okay. So a regal, dark-colored borzoi who has no thoughts in his head follows you along.
He's a good boy.
All right. So, eventually, you all make your way there. and you all meet up. Rufus, before even your coterie shows up, Robinson shows up and helps you finish getting ready.
Okay.
But then the rest of your coterie shows up.
When they show up, they'll just kind of... I feel like Uriel would probably look fairly decent as well. So, when you look at all of them, like, you may have overdressed for the crowd. However, I appreciate you being here.
Uriel shrugs. I had to dress for work.
I tried to dress down. I'm wearing jeans.
Yeah, and how much did you pay for those jeans?
I think these particular ones were $1,000.
Yeah, if you're wearing anything that's more than double digits, and even then...
If it didn't have the free price tag, it probably is overpriced for this group.
Yeah.
Speaking of free price tag, there's a tote there. My driver's gonna bring it over. But there's like 2 totes of clothes, and totes of blankets. Oh, and here's some sandwiches for you. And he's also gonna bring the case of water.
Rufus will direct them over to where the donuts and coffee are. Which I feel like would just be in the back of the van. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good place to keep it. It keeps it sheltered from the wind as well. So Robinson will actually go put those away and get everything set up in there. And then when the items are dropped off, she will pull those things over towards the van as well.
Okay. When they aren't in earshot, you just play. And to be clear, none of them know our society, so let's be sure that we don't say anything referencing that, please.
Got no Illuminati references.
I would be surprised if, any of them did, but okay.
I will be silent. And Lottie will pet Duncan, who's sitting beside her.
His snoot bends weirdly. It's a little weird for no one who's watched a Borzoi before.
Uriel is just transfixed on Lottie's dog, just staring at it. Like, not even making an attempt to hide the fact that they're staring.
Yeah, the little noodle snoot keeps bending in weird ways that doesn't look natural, but is natural.
Oh, yeah, you haven't met him. This is Duncan. He's my good boy.
Hello, Duncan, and Uriel will awkwardly hold out a hand for the dog to sniff.
He'll sniff it and then bump into Uriel's hand. It's very silky fur.
Even your dog feels expensive, Lottie.
I mean, he is kind of expensive, and I do keep him very well groomed.
You might want to keep him close, I think?
I have him on his leash. He normally doesn't stray too far.
I don't believe that somebody will try to steal that dog around here. Others, possibly.
Oh no, I'm more concerned about him wandering off to follow someone else. it does not seem that he's a very intelligent specimen. No offense. He just seems a little vacant.
I mean, they are actually semi-intelligent dogs, although they are also space cadets, so got the best of both worlds there. If you can get them focused, they're great. Other times, though, they're just heads in the clouds.
So he'll get along great with Chris.
Probably.
I was always more of a cat person myself, so I'll take your word for it.
They're nice too. I particularly like the Maine Coons, and then, I mean, not a well-bred cat, but the little midget cats, you know, with the little itty bitty legs are kind of cute, but not a well-bred cat. No, you guys don't know that one. They're like the Minchkins or Munchkins.
Munchkins, that's what it was. I was trying to remember that name.
Munchkins, yes, they are very poorly bred. Most flat-faced animals are.
Yeah. And I don't particularly care for pets. I'm not like some of, well, us.
Okay. I'll take your word on that.
Never took a knack for animal husbandry. Let's put it that way.
I can see you getting along with cats, but I don't know if I can see you owning a cat. And Uriel just kind of considers Rev.
No, if anything, it'd probably be something more of a raccoon. They get into trouble when they don't necessarily mean to. But everybody likes them, so it's okay.
Yes, doesn't the internet call them, what, trash pandas these days?
They do.
Wait until you see exactly what I choose to surround myself with when it's not, well, us.
Real fast, can I get
It
you
would seem
guys
fitting.
to give me what's an awareness?
Three.
Two.
2.
I'm sorry, I'm blanking. What's an awareness? Sorry, 1 second. Okay, I got 4 successes and 1 skull if that plays into effect.
You're good. You just needed to get 2. Y'all hear a little bit of a meow sound coming from under the van. And you see an orange familiar cat. That you saw the other day.
How about
Talk to
that?
the devil. Talk to the devil and he shall appear. Uriel will kind of sit on the ground and hold their hand out to the cat.
The cat's just staring at Duncan. How does Duncan react around cats?
Wonderful question. I have no clue. Let's see here. Success, he's fine. Blank, not so much. Sound good?
Sure.
Yeah, success, he's fine.
Okay. If Duncan makes no moves towards it, it will slowly inch its way out. Yes, Rufus?
Seeing the cat, just like, oh, good, hunter, and all those, well, At least probably one of his friends will be here, potentially.
Okay. You guys can continue. Nothing else happens.
Uriel's mostly just
people are slowly beginning to show up, but they aren't overwhelming in numbers yet, and they're kind of just finding seats and stuff on in the lawns.
Rev would start to make rounds of like thanking everybody that they came and all that fun stuff.
So are you gonna try to take the cat home, Uriel?
No, this is not my cat.
I know it's not your cat, but you seem to be slowly warming up to it. Or it to you, as it were.
Uriel just kind of shrugs. Cats are easier to understand than people are.
Right as I was going to speak, of course you would. So, more people do show up, and it is obvious to see what Rufus was talking about when he was explaining the types of people he surrounded himself by. These are obviously people who don't have access to a lot of things. Most of them don't even look like they probably have a place to live. Some of them are carrying everything around with them. You're thankful you can't smell. But things are more and more beginning to come. One more wits and awareness from you guys.
Only 2 this time.
3.
1.
4.
Rufus, you notice in one of the trees there's a flicker of green movement.
He'll kind of give a little bit of a chuckle. Be like, I thought you didn't like to show up to these things. I hope you're close.
Where are you standing? Are you in a group of people or kind of off to the side?
Before he would say anything, he'd kind of get out of everybody. So he'd be a little bit further off to the side.
You hear very, very quietly, I was bored.
Good. Don't fall asleep now. Sure, it won't be overly exciting.
I mean, I could always do something if I get that bored.
Please don't. And if you do, there's a nice hospital down south that you could, I don't know, break a gas line or something.
You act like I haven't been messing with her since she got here.
I would expect nothing less.
And then nothing else. The rest of you, which I assume are still near the van, around the corner, you can start to see 3 of the 4 that you met yesterday. Sylvia's leading them and looking actually rather excited to be here. She's talking to the others and like gesturing excitedly.
Uriel will wave at them.
Lottie follows suit and does the same.
And then behind them you see a rather plain individual. Nothing noteworthy about them. And they'll wave back and make their way over to you. Sylvia will just kind of clap her hands. I was so excited to come see this. I wanted to see what Rufus does here.
You and me both.
Make that 3.
Oh. I assumed that you all were part of this.
Going on those assumptions again.
It seemed like a rather important thing to him, and you are a coterie, are you not?
They might be. I'm a little bit new to this.
She'll grab one of your hands if you let her.
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uriel will let her.
New to this? Like, she'll gesture to you two. Or with them.
New to the coterie thing. I usually keep to myself, but got curious.
Oh, for a moment you had me worried that you were new to the evenings.
Oh no. I've been around a minute.
Oh, good. And they'll make small talk with you. Hunter seems exasperated to be here. And Buffy, with the plain individual following behind her, actually make their way around the people and start talking to the mortals that are there. But Sylvia will stay with you and make small talk. Is there anything Rufus would like to do as people start gathering?
Some of the older, worse off for health individuals he would specifically like direct to like the blankets and the clothing and the food, obviously. But
Yes, and during this whole time, Robinson has been beginning to pass things out to those people, knowing your preference.
right.
Lottie apologizes for being so short. Her clothes probably don't fit many people. I mean, she's not overly skinny or anything, but she's short.
Oh, it's fine. It's better than nothing.
It's true. It's true. Any extra warmth for these individuals, I'm sure, is greatly appreciated.
Oh, yes.
Why don't you give me a list of things that people will need, and I'll try to help you. You know, I'll go buy like those specific items, or if you guys just want some, extra donations, I can provide that as well. And you guys could buy it yourselves.
Well, Reverend Rufus often takes care of that.
This is true. I should have known better. My apologies.
And she will walk off with a handful of blankets. So, blankets are being passed out. Some people are picking up clothes. Food's being passed out. Many of them are grabbing coffee. And it's filling up quite a lot, actually. More than you thought there might be.
Is Lottie still with the other two?
You haven't said you've moved.
Okay, just making sure. Unless you guys have moved, Lottie's gonna be like, you guys know these things of his were so big?
William will have started moving around, mingling with the crowds.
Uriel would still be there making small talk with Sylvia. Yeah, I'd heard he was gaining a bit of a reputation, which is why I sought you guys out in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, I kinda heard, but I didn't realize it was getting to this point.
And this is why I wanted to get in on this. I've never seen an organization quite like this develop from the roots up. I'm very curious to see how things unfold.
I was so excited to hear that there was something like this happening.
Lottie's just nodding along. Primarily only knowing the Church of England most of her life. Just like, oh, okay.
Are you not particularly religious?
I mean, born and raised Church of England. But
yes, that's right.
yes. But yeah, the deeper I got into this life, the less the more my faith was challenged, I'll put it that way.
Yes, these things tend to do that, but faith has its place, has its history.
That it does. It's changed a lot over the years too, just in general.
I've always felt change was for the better, but I understand not everyone sees things the same way.
Well, seeing how it develops and changes and grows is always the fun part.
It is indeed fun. I think some of the changes have definitely been for the better. The more inclusion is important, especially in this day and age where people want more recognition. Sorry, as Cocia just brain farts. Recognition.
Yes. Is there anything Rufus would like to do? You were helping pass things out, and then Robinson, the end, bringing things to help as well.
Right. After he gets kind of that started, he's gonna actually kind of like stop, take in exactly who's there, and try to figure out how many new faces he has, besides the ones that are new to everyone else.
There's a few. There's actually a little bit more than you had anticipated showing up. Sounded like word of mouth got around quite a bit.
Good. With that, he'll kind of grab his stuff and like get his last minute thoughts in hand, and then start making his way up to where he's gonna do his thing.
You do see off, kind of pulled away from the group, but you still see them. Alex is there, as is Rose, who is mingling with some of the younger crowd.
Okay.
So there's actually a decent number of kindred showing up as well for this.
Interesting. So yeah, once he's got his things, he'll make his way up.
Okay. So you can begin or go through this however you wish to.
Okay. Once he's up in front, and I assume everybody kind of quiets down, and
It takes a couple
lets
of
him do
minutes,
his thing.
but once people start realizing you're up there, the crowd begins to hush.
Yeah, and it's quite literally just a bunch of milk crates that he put a piece of plywood on top. It's very low budget for obvious reasons, but still, it works. Just like, first and foremost, I would like to thank you all for joining me this St. Valentine's Day. As most of you know, this is supposed to be a day for love and reconciliation and all that fun stuff. And he's going to open up his Bible real quick, and he's going to kind of look at it. And normally I would read out of here. However, that doesn't quite seem to fit the bill tonight. And he snaps it back closed and kind of tucks it away. I just wanted to talk at a personal level, and I'm not going to be too long because I do know it's cold out here. But last time we talked about forgiving yourself for issues that you might have caused in the past, but this time I'd like to, once you forgive yourself, remember that forgiveness only goes just so far. You must also love yourself for all your faults, all of your issues, all of your cracks, all of your holes in your personality. You have to learn to love that. And well, we all struggle with that. I don't care who you are, how long you've been around, what you've done, or haven't done for that matter. There is a certain point where you have to love yourself, and you have to learn to love yourself, because let's face it, the majority of people here probably don't. At the end of the day, we've all done things that we regret. I've done things that I regret. And, well, that is unfortunate. We cannot dwell on those. And since we have been working toward forgiving ourselves and accepting what we've done as not necessarily positive, but also something that we can't change now. We have to learn to love ourselves after the fact, or whatever changes came from those. And he just kind of goes on with that type of speech for a little while. Then he turns and he's like, and finally, we must learn to love each other. St. Valentine was martyred. He was killed he was killed for what he believed in. And he believed that, as the story goes, if you love someone, you have the right to be with that person. Not everybody fully believes that. Now, well, I cannot make this a legal union. If there's anyone that is here that would like to declare their love for each other, at least to us, I will be doing whatever it is that you all would like me to do. However, like I said at the beginning, it is cold out here, and I understand cold can get deep set quickly. So, will not keep you any longer. I believe we might still have some coffee left. It might still be warm. And I believe there's some waters as well, which we have a wonderful donor that provided blankets and clothes and the sandwiches and the water. And he just kind of points back. And recent friend that I've made. As well as a couple other friends that we are working on other projects. And he kind of turns to the building. At some point, we wish to acquire and renovate that building. So that is something coming up. It is a big project, and I'm not going to lie to you and say that we'll have it done overnight, because we won't. However, we will attempt to get it done by next winter. It shouldn't be overbearingly cold for too much longer, so that's the positive part. And once we have it open, we have it renovated well enough for a shelter. I will let all of you know. There also is possibly going to be a women's shelter specifically. So if you are affected by anything that you might need that for, I can tell you the investor that's willing to help us with that is committed to that cause and would welcome you with open arms. So, if there's nothing else that all of you need, all of you want, enjoy yourselves. I'll be around. I'll do as all of you wish. I am here to serve you. Have a good evening.
You do actually have a young couple come up to you and ask for you to give them a blessing on their not quite marriage.
Right. And I mean, he would sit down with them for a little bit and kind of ask questions before doing that. Make sure it's not just, dumb puppy love, but
no, it seems fairly genuine.
If it seems mostly genuine, he'd be willing to bless it.
Okay.
As far as he can. He can't do anything legally, but...
Right.
Yeah.
But they would be thrilled to have that.
Right.
That takes a little bit more time. Is there anything the three of you would like to do while he is doing that?
Yeah, Lottie specifically is staying as far back from the people as she can because, yep, that's a problem for her.
Can't let the plebeians touch you.
Well, it's more like she doesn't want to cause them extra coldness since she radiates the coatiness.
Yes.
But yeah, also, can't have the lesser people touching me.
You do have several of them come up and try and thank you and shake your hand and just kind of like gently touch your shoulder.
She will not fight it. Hopefully she has some gloves on so that
I assume you would.
So icy chilly, but tries to keep it as brief as possible.
Yeah, they don't flinch at your touch under the gloves. They express concern as to why you're so cold and maybe you should go warm up.
You're right. Yes, I should go warm up. Maybe next time we should get some little like bonfires or something, so we can all warm up or heater lamps or something. I'll talk to Rufus about it, Reverend Rufus. I'm sure he would appreciate that to help keep you guys more comfortable as well.
So that wave of people kind of disperses. And you three are left on your own. Actually, Sylvia has wandered off and has begun talking to people.
Can William put up heightened senses and listen to see if anyone's saying anything interesting?
Sure. Go ahead and make the wits and awareness roll with your auspex.
3 successes.
Most of them are just talking about how much they enjoyed the speech and how it was a little bit different than his usual ones, but it was really good and they were really invested in it. You don't hear any negative talk. Everyone seemed to be pretty happy with it.
Put down heightened senses before anyone's phone goes off.
Okay. So, Rufus, you do see Sylvia mingling among everyone.
Okay.
And then
he would.
other kindred are still here as well.
Okay. He would pay a little bit closer attention to Sylvia. Just because of reputation's playing.
Yeah. She seems to just be making rounds and introducing herself to people.
Okay. He would make his way over that way once he was done doing what he had to.
Yeah, the blessing the union of those two wouldn't have taken a amazingly long time.
Right.
She seems to, as you approach, to just be asking how your things typically go and how much the people enjoy them and like what you say typically and just questions about what you've done.
Okay. As he's approaching, Sylvia, nice that you could make it.
Oh, Reverend Rufus, I didn't have too many other plans this evening.
Well, nonetheless, I'm happy that you're here.
Yes, it was a very interesting time listening to you.
It's admittedly a little bit different, but I felt like that was more fitting for, well, today. Rather than getting overly scripture heavy. Still give the message that I was trying to portray, just in a less formal fashion.
Well, you seem to have drawn quite the crowd with it.
It's a few more here than I honestly expected myself.
Well, your name is being talked about in circles, at least. As I said, I heard about you before I even knew you were one of us.
Yes. Good Samaritan.
Yes.
Yes. I do try to make a positive impact on society. Doesn't always work, even in a man in my position, but I feel like there is a net positive due to my existence. Well, getting there, at the very least.
I would almost say you ran in the same circles as I did. Almost. Surprisingly enough.
I would ask which circles those are, but perhaps it's a conversation for another time.
Yes, I do believe that would be the case. And they'll just ask more questions about your typical sermons and other things like that. Not exactly small talk, it's a little bit more probing than that, but not overly so. Not trying to find any deep dark secrets or anything.
Right. He would be open for the most part, as long as it wasn't anything too overt.
No, it really would more so just be what you typically do, how you come up with your things like that. As I said, nothing too probing. but also more than you typically get asked. And she seems knowledgeable on the subject.
Okay. Toward the end of the conversation, I'd be more than happy to discuss this as well as some other subjects. Relatively closely related if you wanted to. Obviously, when we both have time. I don't want to keep you too long. I'm sure you've got something to do tonight.
Of course, you did tell us about dear Cassidy, I believe it was, yes? We were going to go speak with her if nothing else pressing was coming up.
I would be wary if you are to go. She seems to have potentially shifted mentality and is not willing to interact as nicely with others as I might have thought initially.
She'll kind of offer her arm to try and steer you away from people so you can have a little bit better of a conversation.
Okay.
So you're off to the side a little bit, more towards the van where less people are now because people are starting to leave and trickle their way out. And then the other three slowly make their way over as well. And you're not too far away from the coterie at this point. And what did you mean by that?
She may be potentially more than what she claims. She's had some...
Anarch.
She's some of her recent dealings with others like ourselves have been a little bit suspicious.
Are you willing to share?
How much of the history of Detroit do you know? Specifically nightlife.
I can't say I know much. I know that it used to be an awful place to be.
Right. I'm not necessarily accusing anyone of potentially holding on to old ways, but there's certainly a possibility of that. However, she might be a little bit more malicious than a typical anarch. Again, that is a rather large accusation to place on someone, so I don't want to accuse her. However, like I said, recent dealings have me suspicious with how she has went about certain things.
Well, that would just be bad for everybody, wouldn't it?
Potentially, yes.
Shall we make a deal?
It would wholly depend on exactly what that deal is.
Letting us settle in your, well, I hesitate to call it barony, but your domain?
We can use that for lack of better phrasing for now.
Possibly help us settle. Maybe pass work along our way if it comes, and then we, being new to the area, and of course, mostly identifying as anarchs ourselves, go see if we can find out a little bit more about dear Cassidy.
I'd be willing to make that deal. I would still tell you to be careful. I understand Hunter and Spike, probably Buffy, are more than capable in most situations. I know you, maybe. You have different ways of going about things, though, traditionally.
Yes, we all have our different skills.
So you specifically, I would tell you to have a little bit of caution. Them still have the same amount, but you take extra.
Mm-hmm. Noted. Is there anything you can tell us? Because we don't have very much information on this.
We've been looking for a rose that has disappeared in, well, Cassidy's area for quite some time now. Last time that we knew about it, this is from a not particularly fully reliable source. However, what they have told us is reliable from their recollection. Cassidy was the last one to speak with them. They have taken it upon themselves to indoctrinate one into our lifestyle that may be a little bit less than.
Oh dear.
Which, yes, that is the initial reason why we started looking. We've had multiple people try to find this person. Still nothing. If you can prove to be a little bit more fruitful on that front, I'm sure I have more things that I could send over your way.
Well, I assume you are not the one the rose falls under. Is there a way we could get information? What name? What they look like? Assuming it's that was the one. He, she, they are the one that created this. Not quite.
Yes. A name, all I have is Fred. As far as description, and he would give a very general, basic description, probably about what he got.
Okay.
Beyond that, I don't have a whole lot of information.
Do you lead her to the coterie at this point? Because you weren't too far off before.
Yeah, he would probably start making his way over.
And do one of your other coterie members have more information on them?
That is a great question. Do we have any more information on this Fred character that we are willing to share?
How much information did you give her?
Name, description, last known area of occupancy.
William would expand on the description. And you got a full name from Charlotte, correct?
Yeah, it was Frederick. Sorry. The actual name is Frederick. Patterson.
Yeah, he'll get the full name and the expanded description.
Do you tell her the feeding habits and all of that as well?
He'll keep that to her himself.
Okay. Well, that is very helpful to know. Easier to track someone with an actual name over a nickname.
Indeed, it is. I forgot that this guy looked so much like that romance novel guy. Kind of funny.
Romance novel guy?
It's an older novel, well, model that appeared on a couple romance novels. Now, not sure what your reading preferences are, but I don't think you would enjoy romance novels personally. I think you like more of the academic.
I just remember seeing them in the drugstores.
Romance novels were never quite to my proclivities. However, not all of my reading habits are as dry as a typical Tremere's.
Well, that is good to know. Maybe I'll pick you up a comic book or something.
Oh, nice! We can do a book club! No? Okay.
I have a book, but
Yes,
unsure if any of you would actually read it.
You never know.
Yeah. Lend it to us. Let us read it.
He will actually take out his Bible and kind of like hold it out.
Lottie will take it and start reading the first page.
Hold on, before you start reading, what edition is that? NIV, King James, Living Translation?
Lottie will open up to where that information will be stored and show it to Uriel.
I would request that you're careful. It's older than it looks.
I'm not trying to be overly rough with it. I'll be more
Oh, I know.
careful, though. It is your precious possession. I do not want to ruin it.
Is it an original printing?
No, I assure you it's from this, well, technically last century. By far from original. And it's not printing press. It is an actual printer. But it is still old and it's still valuable to me.
Not to mention that Bible pages are so paper thin. I mean, like, more like spread thin, really.
It is quite the hefty read. I'm sure it would be much longer if they used standard paper.
Not to mention much heavier. As it sits now, you can use it as a club.
I shudder to think anyone using it like that.
I'm sure people have.
I'm sure people have. So disrespectful.
I don't know, there seems to be a little bit of poetic justice there, given how things start.
I can see that.
True enough. Hunter seems to be getting a little impatient at this point. Did they take the deal or not?
Hunter, have you met Duncan?
I have a feeling that Hunter doesn't necessarily want to meet Duncan. I could be wrong, but
I was just hoping to lighten the mood. He seems a little on edge. You know, most people calm down with the dogs. Not all, but you know.
yes, but given well, his other friend, that, and to answer your question, yes, you are free to stay if you so choose, and I will attempt to help all of you if you're willing to help me as well.
Good. I know Sylvie was trying to figure out more information on that one person you told us about.
I will tell you the same thing that I told her. I don't know exactly what you will encounter in your meeting, assuming that you get one. So just be wary, be careful.
And I'll look to Sylvia and kind of sarcastically, can we go now? And she'll kind of roll her eyes a little bit and turn to you guys. I suppose we should be going on that note.
If it helps,
Patience is
I
a
think
virtue, you know.
It really is. If it helps, I think Cassidy has only been in charge of her area for about 5 years.
Is that so?
Wrong, though. I think.
Rufus could confirm that.
Quick question to the storyteller about on hearing that. Does the timeline click with anything Uriel knows?
5 years, not necessarily. That doesn't mean too much.
Okay.
And Spike will pop in again. If you found that out, do you have any other information?
Just that, really. Haven't found out much. Seems slightly newer than the last 25 years-ish. Maybe she was changed, or at least started up residence here.
Those years would click a little bit. That was around the time the Sabbat was here.
He's been here for a while, but only recently.
Cassidy?
But only recently.
I mean, I just did some light digging yesterday.
Nothing on previous affiliations.
Not that I could find.
Why? Does that mean something?
No, to be fair, I've also been here for quite a while, and I don't have previous affiliations. So while timing seems to be suspicious, it's not necessarily end-all, be-all. Remember your comment about not being a very good place to be. That's what we're talking about.
Ah.
What he said.
I see. So I assume that was around the time then.
Up until recently, yes.
Good to know. Any other tidbits about her that you know? Interesting. Seems like someone's covering the tracks.
It is suspicious.
Well, with that, I believe we'll be on our way to see if we can get a meeting set with this so-called Baron.
Enjoy yourselves.
Thank you, you as well. Enjoy your evening. And with that, the four of them will make their way off. It's around middle of the night, maybe 1 in the morning at this point.
Are there any stragglers? Oh my gosh, I can't speak English. This is horrible. Are there any
Stragglers?
Stragglers.
Thank you. Oh my god, I don't know why I could not say that flippin' word.
There's a few. There's a few.
If there's a few, and if you would have allowed Lottie to like get some like 5s or 10s or something, she'll just go around and be like, here, make sure you get something nice and warm to eat tomorrow or something.
Yeah,
Person.
you can pass out money. No one's gonna stop you there. They're all extremely thankful.
Yeah. Sure, it's gonna go to recreational uses, but hopefully they'll actually get something warm to eat.
Some of them, maybe. So, Alex is lingering. Rosie is too a little bit. Not sure if Nain is still here. Is there anyone you would like to go speak with, or would you like to go do something?
Rufus will go talk to Rose and Alex.
And they've kind of made their way together at this point because they were both looking for the younger looking people in the crowd.
Right. When he approaches him, surprised to see you both here.
Rose will kind of chuckle a little bit. Yeah, Chris has been talking about this for a while now. Been saying a lot about how much you do stuff like this. I figured I'd come check it out.
Yeah. Is it just them three? Or did anybody follow?
Did you guys want to follow?
Lottie's doing her thing, so nope.
Yeah, well, I won't follow.
Uriel probably would as well.
Okay. Speaking of, have you talked to him within the last 24 hours?
Me?
Well, either of you.
Alex will shake their head. I don't know who that is.
There.
And then Rose will... Yeah, I spoke with him, a little bit before I came here.
Okay. I'm surprised he's not here. Figured
T
he
asked
might-
him to help with something, I think, and he said he would do that.
Okay. How in depth of a talk did you have?
Over what you do?
Well, that and me and him had a talk yesterday. I just wanted to see if he passed on any messages or not.
No. He did say he wanted to talk to T about some stuff today, though. That's partly what they were doing.
Okay. Like I said, it's just want to see if he's doing what I asked him not to or not. It's not a huge deal. It's just purely making sure that he's gonna keeping my trust, as I suspect he will.
Okay. He's just been saying that I might like to hear what you have to say, that's all. That's really all he ever told me. And I really liked tonight's thing. It helped.
Yeah. Apologize. Back to that. Yes. I do tend to try to do these, obviously, at least once a week, to cover the needs of, well, the majority of what normally shows up, since they're not typically accepted into, well, most circles.
It's
So if you want to,
feeling I'm familiar with.
if you feel like this is something that you'd want to keep doing, I can certainly keep you in a loop as far as when we have these and where and all that fun stuff.
I think I would, if that wouldn't be too much of a problem.
No, absolutely not. It'd be perfectly fine. Just one request
What?
is eat before you come.
Oh, of course.
Just make sure tempers don't flare.
I don't often have a problem with that.
Good.
And Alex was kind of ducked their head a little bit. Yeah, I haven't had another problem like that.
Problems happen. It's not going to hold it against you, especially given, well, what we are. So just be mindful and try to keep it at bay as best you can. I know it's not always possible either. Sometimes it's difficult to make things happen. And if you need help in that regard, I can possibly help. Might not necessarily be your preference, but it certainly can attempt to help.
I don't really have much of one.
Odd.
Take it where I can get it.
To each their own, and yours is easy then. Potentially.
And Rosal just kind of shrugged. I prefer having a juice box before I come.
Oh, so you are like Chris.
Yeah, it's better that way, I think.
It is certainly more convenient if you can stomach it. Not all can.
It took some time, but I got it.
Oh, good.
It makes me feel better.
Have you met my two? Well, Lottie's around here somewhere. I have a third, but have you met these two?
Briefly, but not in depth. I was a little out of it when we met last.
Well, William and Uriel, Rose and Alex. Officially.
Nice.
We'll offer a handshake.
Rose will shake your guys' hand. Alex will not, but offer a nod. I have only met you. I haven't met the others.
Right. Well, certainly need to change that now, don't we? Friends are always welcome.
Knowing people is helpful.
I think I saw you in the van when they got you out of the jail cell.
Yeah, we weren't really introduced, though.
Right, we were more worried about getting you to a safe place.
Yeah, I was a little bit noticeable.
Oh, is Officer Robinson still around? A chance.
Oh, of course she is.
Before you leave, make sure you go tell her, and we'll point to her. Thank you for sticking her neck out for you.
Oh, that was who you were talking about?
Yes. She might not know a whole lot about it, but I just basically told her that you are a potential new member.
I'll probably be showing up. It's at least something to do.
Right. And unfortunately, it's not a whole lot to do in the city if you're trying to stay out of trouble.
Yeah. I'll go talk to her.
Before you go, which way did you come in? South or the east?
Kind of from the south. I don't know. I was at that place you gave me the address from.
Okay. So, did you see the marks every so far?
I didn't know I should have been looking for them.
It's fine. I've kind of started to mark out my area. Inside that area, you were not necessarily under my protection, but I'm willing to help correct any issues that you might run into.
And what do you want in return?
Don't get in trouble.
I can probably do that.
And obviously, don't draw too much attention to us if you can help it.
I'll do my best.
Can't always be helped, but sometimes.
Luckily, a lot of the things that do tend to pop up for me are usually pretty easily hidden in the winter, at least.
Huh.
Scarf and gloves.
Thank goodness for gloves and scarves.
It's something.
It certainly is.
The whole mask thing has helped a lot, too.
Yeah, I can see why. I mean, as unfortunate as that entire event was, honestly probably easier for a lot of us.
Yeah.
So, Is there anything either one of you need? Since I've got you here and I'm already talking to you.
I'm good. I'm just gonna go talk to the officer and then probably head out. And Rosie. I don't think so. Did you want me to pass a message along to Chris?
Chris and or T. Letting them know, like, if they need anything, and I quite literally mean anything, let me know. I know I talked to them a couple nights ago, but I just want to drive home the fact that I'm willing to help, since I know a lot of people aren't.
She'll wait until Alex walks off. T's really skeptical because there's been a lot of problems. Not so much with any of, like, the powerful ones around here, but the people who've just been kind of wandering in. Once they find out what any of us are, it's not been really great, so she's defensive. Don't hold it against her.
I get it. Probably something that you don't know much of, if anything, but there are prophecies saying that you're like the end of the world. You and your kind. Whoever wants to put stock into that is free to do so. Some older ones, I'm one of the few that are older and don't necessarily believe it in that fashion. Feel threatened because of it.
I've heard a little bit about it. I never really paid much attention to it. It's mostly just used for derision.
Yes and no. I mean, there's obviously translations and interpretations to it, as with any text of that particular nature, as I'm sure Uriel probably attest to. But if you would like as close to a one-to-one translation as I can get a hold of, I know there's things you can download that are supposed to be works of fiction. I think I may have one more paper version of a small section.
You have it with you?
I will have to look to see if I still have it, but potentially.
It might at least give some answers, if nothing else.
Sure, give me a few moments.
Okay.
And he'll head off toward his van.
Okay. Rose will actually turn to the rest of you. He said your name was Uriel?
Yes.
He sounded like you might know a little bit about this. Do you know anything?
No more than what he gave. There's old, as he said, old tales, old legends. Some people cling to these in lieu of religion. But I've only ever heard them as stories.
Let's turn to the other. Has Lottie made her way back yet, or is she still?
If I could have, yeah, she would have started making her way back.
Yeah, I
And
assume
either
you would.
run into. Yeah, I can either run into Rufus around the van, or just go straight to Uriel and William.
Whichever you prefer.
Uriel and Willie it is. Who says the dice?
So I think you would have heard parts of that conversation. Then she'll turn to the rest of you two. Do you guys know anything else about this, or do? Chris has been talking William up. Chris has been talking Rufus up, and he's been talking about you guys a little bit. Are you guys okay with us?
Yeah, I'm okay with you guys.
You are what you are. Can't change it. Easily, at least.
Yeah, I know it's possible. I don't know, maybe a couple of us have. I haven't really been around too long.
If it is something that one of your brethren intend to pursue, I ask that you ask them to consider their choices carefully. Things can go wrong, and when they go wrong with us, they go very, very wrong.
The beast doesn't let us do things by halves, does it?
Never.
I think Rufus will be making his way back at this point.
Yep.
Were you able to
And
find it?
when he will actually pull out a couple pieces of paper. He's like, it's not what I thought I had. However, I think this is the most pertinent section. I was working on kind of transcribing from what I had to be able to make more copies.
Are you sure?
But it's fine. I can get more. It's just this is what I had on hand. Then he will hand over a section specifically on thin blood.
Okay. She will take it, and she's not going to read it there, but she'll skim over it very briefly. You don't mind if I share this with the others, do you?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
If they would like their own copy, I'm sure I could probably muster something up.
I'll let them know. I'm not sure how interested all of them will be in this, but I would like to know why that everyone apparently hates us.
Right.
Old teachings for one.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
I mean,
I
I know a little bit, but again, knowing like actually why is better than just hearing how horrible thin bloods are.
I think, like most acts of hate, it is purely subjective and irrelevant.
yes.
Might be irrelevant, but it's still affecting us.
Never said it wouldn't.
Much like why we as a general populace are hated. People are threatened. And that's the majority of the problem. People don't understand, and well, yes, there are dangerous parts to everything that we do. It's my what would be my heart goes out to you and your friends, because I understand that to a certain degree of not being trusted, not being liked.
Well, he certainly seemed liked enough tonight.
It's been a long time in the making.
I'm gonna head back and talk to the others. I'll pass your message along to T and Chris.
Also, if you would like to have any more of that, I'm sure I could probably find my old source to get more of that type of thing.
Do you, would you be okay if I give you my number so you can tell me where to meet next?
Absolutely.
She will exchange
Many.
numbers with you.
All right.
Turn to everyone. I'll see you around.
Stay
Bye.
safe.
Have a good night.
Good night. Don't stay out too late.
You
And
as
she'll
well.
walk away. So, Robinson is still not gone. She's finishing cleaning things up.
Rufus will go and help finish cleaning up. Obviously, give thanks to them being willing to A, show up early and like set up, and B, stay the entire time and help clean up.
It's not unusual for her to do so.
Right, but still.
Yep.
A little bit of
She will.
gratitude's wonderful.
She will talk your ear off while you're finishing up helping her. And just how much she enjoyed the everything and just on and on about that. How much she appreciates you for doing these kinds of things. Is there anything that you guys would like to do for the rest of the evening? You have a few hours left. Everything's packed up, things are put away, the remainder of the stuff is taken care of. Robinson finally leaves.
Uriel will find Rufus. Forgive me, perhaps it's the Tremere in me, but you gave away some powerful knowledge tonight.
If only I had the original. That would be even more powerful. But yes.
Do you have a source you go to for other bits of knowledge?
I have an email that I'm not sure works anymore. But they are who gave me the knowledge in the first place.
You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. I understand people have varying levels of privacy. How much stock do you put in the knowledge you gave tonight?
As much as people think it's worth. I know that is a very non-precise answer, but power only has... Words only have power when people believe that they are true. It's much like those who would hunt us purely on the will of God. They believe it is true, therefore it is. So if one were to believe that they're the harbingers of the end times, then it is. How about you?
I believe that thin bloods are the harbinger of the end. I'd like to say I am an open-minded skeptic. If they are, then what does it matter to me? I cannot stop the end. And if they're not, then we live or unlive, see another night.
Exactly. How much stock do you put in all of those teachings, really? I know some of that are diehard fanatics, and others that purely believe that they are a work of fiction, fairy tale that is meant to scare young girls and boys.
In all honesty, I've found them more useful in discerning the nature of the person revealing the information than anything about the information itself. As I said, I'm an open-minded skeptic. I do not put much stock in it, but have not closed myself off to the idea entirely.
Even the beginnings and, well, the middle, because obviously that would be the end. Exactly how we were created and how the different clans came to be. Surely there's not everything that is taught is completely untrue. Everything with a grain of salt, after all, right?
Of course.
But again, without actually physically seeing them and having them in one's hands, you can't necessarily get a proper translation, first and foremost, and secondly, examination to ensure that they are or are not counterfeit. Because that everything could just be made up and it's just some old curse. Or it could be true to fact, and well, we are what we are because one person who then spread to multiple. Or it could be somewhere in between. Much like, I believe, your clan. You were not traditionally embraced, if I remember properly. Much more you took it upon yourselves to gain the power and the knowledge.
They took it upon themselves.
Yes, it's a collective you in that particular.
While I am quite open-minded to many things, I've never quite been able to put stock in original sin, if you catch my drift. I believe that we all make our choices.
It's certainly a talk that we can have at one point or another. The theoretical behind all of this is fascinating, and I feel like you're one of the few that probably has the same curiosity about it that I do. Our curiosity is probably driven from different places, though.
All roads lead to Rome, yes?
Eventually, even if you have to go through India to get there.
we will certainly have to continue this conversation.
Absolutely.
Oh, by the way, before I forget, if you need anything in terms of original paperwork about that little project of yours, I have a friend that works in city records. Let me know if you need anything.
Oh, I have some paperwork that I actually believe I still need to go pick up. I don't believe I've actually picked that up yet. I should go do that.
Just might want to.
Yes, I believe there's going to be a cost estimate to fix and all that fun stuff, so might be a little bit more pertinent for my means.
So, that being said, William and Lottie, is there anything you guys would like to do?
After everyone starts to kind of disperse a little bit as cleanup is happening, Lottie will go ahead and just around the extreme, edges of the area, she'll just walk along with Duncan, make sure that there is nothing left on the far edges of the thin mist, and get ready to call her driver to go home.
If you give him some slack or drop the lead at all, Duncan will just randomly spin in tornado circles and just burn off a bunch of energy.
Sure, Lottie will do that just for the amusement.
And you can all look over and see this dog just spinning. Just kicking up little dust cyclones in his wake.
Duncan, you're gonna need a bath. I'm gonna have to take you to the groomers tomorrow. But, I would have had Willow normally do it because I can't go out during the day. Oh, maybe the groomer can come to you. Done that in the past.
He'll just stare up at you with empty eyes.
And this is why I prefer cats.
Cats need grooming too, just not as often.
You mean I send Oliver to do it for you?
I mean, if you really want, but normally if I pay the groomer a little extra, they'll come to me and pick up Duncan and take Duncan over. I think even the driver has taken Duncan over for me. I tip very well.
I'll leave it up to you.
So your driver does come, and a dusty Duncan jumps in the car. And the driver just gives a look.
You know I'm going to give you enough money to get the car detailed. Calm down. Plus your normal tip.
That's why I didn't say anything.
I know. There was still that look, though. I saw it. It was only for a split second, but I saw it.
I can't control everything.
This is true. Onward home, if you do not mind, my good sir.
Of course not. And then he will drive you off. William, would you like to head home or head out to do something?
William is going to talk to Rufus first. That's kind of what I'm used to.
It's not unlike what I'm used to.
The one lady, the Robinson, you said she seems pretty dedicated.
She's she's one of those that came through and been just stuck with me for quite a while now. She's a police officer.
Pretty good person to have in your pocket.
Yes, but best not to abuse relationships like that. While they are potentially fruitful, it's best to use them sparingly if you need to.
That makes sense.
Like looking up license plate numbers or doing very quick background checks or checking for warrants. Nothing overly extensive and nothing that'll flag as weird. But definitely things that are useful.
Yeah, so about the offer for performing music for you, I assume that you don't have a songbook for your particular brand of sermon?
No. To be honest, I feel like most of my parishioners probably aren't with the best singing voice. I don't necessarily know if you'd want them to sing. That and me, myself, I never had a knack for it.
You find a crowd usually drowns out the bad vocals to most listeners.
But if the entire crowd is or was heavy drug users, so potential there of a cacophony of terrible, if we're being honest. Music is absolutely welcome. If you have a singer in mind, absolutely be willing to let them lead whatever it is that you would want to do in whatever style it is that you want to do.
Yeah, I never did tell you I was a singer in a band, did I?
No, I just knew you were a musician at one point.
I was a singer before I was embraced. Actually, that's what led to that.
Well, I guess it would be fitting, given, well, what I know about you.
If you give me that, what's it called? Whatever it's called, I'll try to write up some songs. Just let me know if you want something lively or morose. Or whatever in between.
Yeah. Most of mine I tend to be attempting to be more lively, just for the simple fact of the people that I serve tend to have exceedingly difficult lives. So trying to perk them up is probably the best.
We'll see what I can do.
I'd appreciate that. It's probably been quite a while since the majority of them have actually gotten good live music.
I'm sure they'll appreciate it.
Doesn't take much to impress them, and they appreciate most things. By the way, I do appreciate you attending this evening. It was a little bit surprising, to be honest with you.
I was really curious as to what you stood for.
I hope I lived up to the expectation.
So you did.
Good. And hopefully our new friends that we have made will return on the commitment, as well as be joining us more, because I do rather like Hunter and Spike. They're a bit grating, but something about them I kind of like. Buffy and Setite.
Sylvia.
I know. This is Sylvia. They're both not too far off what I would expect. Probably trust Buffy a little bit more than Sylvia, but then again, assumptions about clans.
Yeah, so I think that's the first ministry I've ever met.
It's not my first, and it'll probably not be my last.
Anyways, I have to go check on one thing. I'm sure you have some things you want to check on yourself, so I'll leave you for the day.
Have a good rest of your evening / morning.
Travel safely.
What was William wanting to take care of?
William is going to check in on Oliver.
Okay. He hasn't quite found a place to live yet? To long term. But he has that place he's staying in now. So he has a place to stay. It was Buck's house. Chris is somewhat staying there as well. Was that all that you wanted to check in with him, or was there something else?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay. So we'll move on to Uriel as long as there's nothing else. Guess there's nothing else. Okay, Uriel, what would you like to do?
Let's see, what would Uriel like to do? They will pretty much just make their way back to their haven. Double check just to make sure they didn't miss any messages, because they probably had their phones silenced for Rufus's sermon.
Nope.
So with that, they'd
Things have been
probably
pretty
just
quiet on
settle
that front.
They'd probably just kind of review their notes from the night previous, and kind of keep things fresh in their mind, and then get ready for the day sleep.
Okay. And then Rufus, how would you like to finish off your evening?
Going and getting the paperwork from Bill.
Okay. So he is where you told him to be. Because I believe you had a place for him to stay, short term at least.
Yeah, I told him to stay in the house until I can find him somewhere.
So he has all of the paperwork set and ready to go, and he explains it to you and gives you a rundown. It's still just an estimate, so nothing is 100% guaranteed, but it is still more than what you had previously. It is a lot of work, and it is very expensive.
As expected.
As expected. But you have that paperwork now.
Before leaving, he would ask if he has seen Chris tonight.
Not tonight? No. I think he's supposed to be back tonight, like, in a little bit, though.
How long until sunrise?
You have maybe a couple more hours. 2.5 hours.
Okay. He would sit around waiting for Chris for about an hour and a half before hopping in the van, like going a ways down the road and getting ready real quick.
Chris would come back after about an hour of waiting.
Everything go well with your thing you were taking care of?
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, everything's good. Rosie said she came to see. She seemed pretty happy.
Did. I gave her a piece of information. You should probably sit down and read it at some point, just to kind of get a better understanding of why people treat you. Well, some people treat you the way you do, or they do.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of stories from the others. It's not great.
No, and it's not. Which again is another reason that I try to keep all of you safe. It's unwarranted.
Yeah, I'm real glad I haven't really had to deal with too many others.
You don't mind sharing. What were you and T taking care of tonight?
She was wanting to check up on her. Not quite domain. She didn't really want to call it that, but she didn't have a better word for it. Because she knows you were checking up on Cassidy.
Yeah.
And you had asked her to see if they were meeting people, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she asked me if I could go with her, and she just wanted to know a little bit more about you, and I didn't tell her anything you didn't want me to.
Okay. If she wants to learn more about me, let her know that she can contact me if she wants to. I understand that she might not want to, but she can if she wants to.
I did, and I think she might. She just wanted to gauge things first, I think.
Okay. I started drawing a border, by the way.
Okay.
So if anybody comes over that way, let them know that when they get in there, they're actually under my protection. Nobody's to touch them. Nobody's to bother them. but I can only give them that within the borders of my domain.
Is that something you want me to tell them too?
Yes.
Okay.
Until they give me a reason to not offer that protection, they have my protection.
Okay. I will tell you that T seemed happy with how Rosie was tonight. They were telling me she has been really not doing great since you guys found her.
Like I said, I try. Doesn't always work, but I try. Anyway, it is getting to that hour, so I will leave you alone. Obviously, I have a small trip that I have to take before I get ready. So, if you would just pass on that message for me, and
Yeah.
I would, and we'll see you at some point in the next week or so. Then.
Okay. Let me know if you need me.
I'll try not to.
Okay.
Trying to give you as much leeway and freedom as I physically can to let you do your own thing.
Yeah, it's nice having... I can't really talk to my old friends now, so like making new ones is nice.
Exactly. So, have a good sleep, Chris. And he'll pat him on the shoulder and head out to the van.
Chris will just kind of wave you out. So, where do you drive to? Or is there something else you'd want to do in the beginning?
He would just kind of drive to a good, secure location that's at least 1 mile away from where he slept previously.
Easy enough to do. You have quite the amount of space to pick from.
Yes.
So, we'll circle back around again. Any last minute things you guys would like to do or take care of before the day sleep? Starting with Lottie.
Yes. If at all possible, hopefully people in her building are going to bed now after their night of clubbing quite early in the morning. Can Lottie please take one hooker off, going from 2 to 1, if at all possible?
Give me dexterity and larceny.
Larceny, not stealth for break-in?
Well, you need to actually break into their places. Like, you need to physically unlock the doors.
Really should have taken larceny. That's okay. So just dexterity it is. 1 success.
It's not as quiet as you were hoping.
Even with my, well...
Right, this is just opening the door. This is just getting the door open. So it's not as quiet. It's not as well done as you were hoping. And you do hear footsteps in the hallway. Now you can make me your stealth roll.
Okay. 3 successes.
Okay. So what would you like to do? You've got the door opened. It is slightly noticeable that you've done something to it. But what would you like to do to try to hide?
Lottie will hide in the coat closet for them to hopefully just go back to their room and go back to sleep.
Okay. Are you shutting the door, closing yourself in?
Probably stupid blee. I can't speak English anymore. But yes, she'll close any doors that she needs to make it look like nobody has messed with anything as much as possible.
Okay. And you got 3 successes, you said?
Yes, 3 successes on my stealth.
So, a light flicks on as you hide in the closet just in time. And you pull the door shut, and you can kind of see through some of the cracks. The light flicks on, and you can hear someone kind of stumbling through the house. You can hear an older male voice, kind of grumbling to himself about why is it so loud? It's not usually like that, like those darn kids and things like that. You hear the front door open, then nothing, and then it closes. And then the footsteps do come by the door that you are hiding behind. And they stop for a second. And then continue on. And the light flicks off. So you can wait 10, 20, 30 minutes before you get back out. Would you like to check and see if he's asleep, since you're already in?
Yes, please.
Okay. Give me another stealth roll. You can add your larceny thing, of course. Or your break-in thing.
Four successes.
Okay. So you make it to the room, and he is asleep.
Okay. Lottie feeds.
Okay. How many points?
Just the one.
Okay.
Bring her back down to 1.
So you can leave unaccosted and unnoticed.
Thanks for the meal. And Lottie makes sure the wound is closed. Out she goes. Making sure the door is locked behind her.
All right. So you get back to your haven. And that is the last thing you would like to accomplish?
Yes, please.
All right. William, was there any last minute things?
Just heading home and preparing for the day sleep.
Okay. Uriel?
Uriel is good, just their usual day sleep preparations.
Okay. Same with you, Rufus, or is there something?
Nope.
All right. So, the night comes to an end as the sun rises, and each of you fall into the day sleep, knowing you had a lot happen tonight, but not anything horrible. A nice change of pace, I think. So, and with that thought, you each drift off into nothingness. And that is where we'll be ending the game. So, this was a wrap up with this chapter. The next game, we'll start the next one, and we'll see what happens there. Who knows what could happen? Nothing bad, right? There will be quite a sizable time skip between now and the next one, so we will have to be determined, but we potentially will be doing individual episodes to cover downtime and an event. So we'll start with that. So the next order of business is real fast, as updates. The next Nicole Cryptid Catchers game will not be happening. We will, however, be doing deep dives into characters, so you will get to see some of that. Rufus/Dengle will not be joining us as he has real life things to take care of. But we will be doing a deep dive on his character as well, probably after the next Detroit game. If I had to guess. If not, we'll figure out a different time for it. But, so no cryptid catchers, but you will still be seeing us talking. Now to our normal announcements. Check us out on TotalPartyKrit.com. You can find all of our all of our social medias there. You can find where to watch or listen to us on all of our different podcast sites, video sites, everything like that. You can find a little bit about the NPCs, a little bit about each of us as people, a little bit about each of us as the characters we play. And then there is, on the main screen, if you kind of go towards the bottom, you can find a link to Dice Legion, where you can find, if you follow that link, it'll automatically apply a discount to dice, and they have other accessories as well. Dice trays, pins, buttons, all sorts of neat stuff. We've used many of the dice in our games, and they are quite well made. Very pretty as well. Next to that link, you can find our Patreon, and if you can support us, that'd be lovely. If you cannot, we understand. There isn't a lot on there right now. I've fallen behind on posting things, but there is stuff to be put on there. There is potentially going to be free things on there as well, so keep an ear out for when those things are available. I have been working on character sheets that I use for Tori, so those might be going available at some point soon. I like them. They're pretty in-depth and detailed, and I like the layout. It works. I think that's it. Did I miss anything? Oh, like, comment, subscribe, please. It helps. Word of mouth is great. On our Twitch thing tonight, we had 2 different raids and got a bunch of subscribers and viewers. It was fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate everyone who came tonight. It's awesome to see things like that. So even though we don't engage much during our actual game, we do enjoy seeing it. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, share, word of mouth, however you share, we appreciate it. If you have constructive criticism, please leave it. I'm sure there is some. We would appreciate knowing how we can make it better. I think I finished everything there.
And so too.
That being said, thank you for joining us, guys. Have a good night or good day.
Sweet dreams.